Welcome to Miniature Realms. My name's Stuart. If, like me, you love the idea of massive campaigns for your games of Warhammer, the old world, and not only that, you like the idea of tools to help make that a little bit easier to run, that look really nice and make the whole process a lot more fun. Well, today I'm joined by David of Renown Forge to tell us all about his latest project.
Miniature Realms is proudly sponsored by Counter-Attack Bases. They stock a wide range of counters, gaming aids and movement trays for multiple game systems and offer custom items to suit your club, your event or even your podcast or YouTube channel. Check out the link in the video description.
David, thank you very much for agreeing to join me and talk all about Renown Forge. But before we get started on that, give everyone a little introduction to who you are.
Hi, Stu. Great to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. So I'm David, and I'm the creator of Renown Forge. I've been playing the old world for a little over a year and a half, and I played previously back in the 1990s and collected a small collection of everything back then.
It's always the way. It was a good era. It was a good era. So the next big question is, what is Renown Forge?
So Renown Forge is a new site I've launched recently. It's designed to allow players and organisers to create campaigns, narrative campaigns, and just even play evenings, as well as a battle report builder to enable them to kind of create, maintain, and report the events that are so important to us all.
Fantastic. And I've been nosing around on it a little bit since I was first sent the link, and there's a really thriving Discord for it at the moment, with lots of people excitedly setting up their campaigns and doing their battle reports, and you're doing bug fixes and all these things. It's really nice to see. It's probably the most active in terms of notifications of the lot of the Discords that I'm in, which is really nice. But I haven't set anything up. I've not done anything other than snoop at the moment, so which is quite a good place, because I think it means you can talk the viewers through what it's all about, what the website does, and how it works, and what the app does as well. It works like an app on my phone, as well as on a web browser as well. But you can talk a little bit about sort of the kind of functionality that we can see on there. And I've got some little example snippets of video and some images to pop up as well throughout the video, so people can see what we're talking about. But let's go back to the beginning a little bit. Where did it start? What made you want to create this?
So about 6 months ago, I was chatting with some different play groups and different individuals in the scene, watching a lot of videos on YouTube, some of yours, Stu, and then I realised there was a bit of a dearth of accessories and kind of some of the digital tech I thought that could exist that would help kind of narrative players, and just generally to organise and add a little bit more feeling to your average game night. From there, I just started tinkering and building, and over the last few months, we've now reached a point where it had been live for a little while, but that was behind the scenes. Now we've got it to a place where it's been released to the general audience, which is you can now build and manufacture campaigns in it.
Fantastic. And you certainly can. I can see people working on them all the time, and as I say, sharing in that Discord. So talk a little bit, let's start with the campaign builder side of it then. So talk us through what you can do, what the functionality is like. What does the website do? What does the app do?
So on a basic level, you will either be an organizer or a player, probably both. Realistically, you're going to be both. You will be able to, on the first hand, create campaigns. These campaigns you could create literally from scratch, adding everything. You can add your name, your story, any special rules, whatever you can imagine. You can also download templates and go to the marketplace and buy a little campaign, even for as small as a game night. The campaigns allow you to add images, other media, video, narrative, everything you can imagine that will enhance your play experience. That can be created. Then you simply set up a campaign, set some points for a round and play.
Fantastic. So really simple. So in terms of the scope of it, I'm assuming that you could run this just at home. Myself and my son could run a little narrative campaign. How far could it grow? How big can you make these campaigns?
So the starting point is always you're playing at home.
Hmm.
It's your standard games night. Um, it can be for play at home, club nights, events. You could have a weekend where you all play together. You create a campaign, invite people in. Everybody turns up to an event. The rounds are story based, so you can kind of push narrative elements. You can have them slow reveal, so the story doesn't expand or become visible until you reach that round. You could play them. It's designed with the idea of path to glory. The Games Workshop are built in mind. So you can build a slow grow campaign over the few months with you and your local club. You can use this to organise them over a wider scope. You can play them online.
Hmm.
So you could play this using Warhol and other apps to play the whole thing online or in person across one play group or many. Beyond that, you can also run global campaigns. So at the
Hmm.
top end, you can create a campaign with multiple kind of theatres of war. Um, each of those theatres contributing points. So small individual play groups can play amongst themselves whilst contributing to a larger narrative.
Fantastic.
You can even take this all the way up to include factions, which
Hmm.
is my favourite elements of the game of the app. You can incorporate those, each player contributing their personal play points to the faction of their choosing, the narrative faction, playing and contributing towards a whole story build. The sky's really the limit. I don't know the full scope of it. I've only built
Hmm.
in the possible options. I think it's over to the player base to determine how far we can go with it.
Sounds really exciting, especially with that idea of massive breadth. Whereas, my initial thoughts are, could I run something fun at home, a bit of a small escalation between myself and my son to get him
Yeah,
painting some of his miniatures and build some story into it, which he really laps up at this, especially at this younger age.
yeah,
However, you're talking about the scope there and remembering what Games Workshop were very famous for, especially in the noughties when they did the global campaigns, and Storm
yeah,
of Chaos was one of the most famous for Warhammer Fantasy. And I can imagine the use for content creators wanting to maybe run a centralized campaign for all of their viewers, their subscribers, their patrons, maybe, or even just opening up across different creators as hubs for people and run something really, really massive. Again, like you said, the scope seems huge. Doesn't have to be content creators. Someone could set it up and have a home via a Facebook page or a group or something, and recruit players that way. We could set up this massive thing, and all these different gaming clubs and groups sign up and take part. Fantastic to be able to do that rather than just sending your results in via Games Workshop store and them telling you in a magazine this was the result. Honest, you could
yeah.
really see the live results. It sounds really, really
So
exciting.
you'll see it build as you play. The organizer can reveal the results round by round. So you could play over the course of a weekend. Everybody around the world could play the same game, the same narrative over the course of a weekend, contributing their results together. Or they could play individually amongst themselves over the course of several weeks, with the results being collated at the end. It can play over multiple rounds, single rounds. The scope is really limitless. There's I don't know how far it can really go.
Brilliant. And I think you can import your army lists and things from multiple
Yes.
different sites. So how does that work?
So the core app is designed to be free.
Mm.
I remember when I was at school, something like this would have been brilliant. So I wanted to make sure all the way down to the very base level, everybody can access the core functionality. So you can bring in army lists from Old World Builder and New Recruit at the minute.
Yep.
You import their file types and it will build out your list.
Right.
Um, So at any point you can fill your roster out this way. You then, in each round of play, you submit your roster and it kind of fixes it as a text list. If you want to bring new units in, you can simply update your roster on those army builders. You then import that file and it will kind of take a guess at what's new, and you can kind of run through checkboxes to bring in the new units you've added
Right.
and to add story. You add story to your units as they develop. As you play through, you can give them veteran abilities, experience points, the works. Everything's there for you to build up and kind of progress a campaign all the way across.
Fantastic. And again, you made that example already about the existing Path to Glory, and how that works at the moment. Sounds like that functionality is already built into it. So people are just looking to play Path to Glory and have an electronic way of managing it rather than noting it down
Yeah,
on
it's to
paper.
work with.
It's there just for that as well.
Yeah,
Really, really
it's to
good.
work with. So you can play at slow grow. I love the idea of. I mean, I love the idea of building new armies. I'm
Hmm.
very much. This was just an excuse to be able to justify collecting a new army, building up, painting the 500 points, getting some games in, and then expanding, expanding, expanding. It's now very easy to do, and you can really record all the details.
Uh-huh.
As the reporting software kind of develops, we're going to be seeing more features that allows you to kind of build battle reports, text narratives. Everything can be stored in there. Each round, you can write the story of your battle.
Yeah.
Each unit, you can write the story of your unit and how they've grown over the course of the campaign. Everything can be visible for content creators. This allows you
Hmm.
to not just publish a video about a campaign, the video becomes part of the story. People can go into your campaign and look at it. They can see your units, how they've played, how they've fought. In theory, you could use this to actually interact with your audience and play with them. You can create campaigns that they can play. They can mirror your campaigns. The sky really is the limit.
Yeah, it's down to your imagination, really, with the bow. So I suppose that leads into the battle report functionality, really. We all, I don't know, I say we all, that's probably a little bit presumptuous, but many people of our age would have enjoyed
Yeah,
White Dwarf and fallen in love with the battle reports of that era and a certain kind of imagery as well for the top-down view. But you've got the tools there that you can sort of do your own, turn these battles into battle reports, which you can then share with other people.
100%. So I originally played in the 1990s. There was some very, very iconic, very easy to read battle reports that were really engaging. They had, unit iconography, they had story, they had everything that kind of my imagination was filled with. Um, and what I wanted was a way of, I'd always imagine those battle reports. I'd draw them and sketch them on paper and draw out little boxes and where things were in the battle. So what we've built and created is a simple system where you can take units and armies from your campaign. There's different tiers of membership when you get into the battle report builder, but generally speaking, you can take your campaign, you can take photos, you can skew them to the battlefield. You can use that to place hills, terrain, woods, um, run rivers through there, everything like that. You can develop deployment zones, all these types of things as guides you can put in place. You can visually incorporate those back into your campaign. You can then place your units or have entire rosters downloaded into it. And you can build up, a scene by scene, round by round, full battle report. There's a couple of different styles we make available. There's a modern parchment style, and there's the kind of full retro white dwarf that all of us fell in love with.
Yeah.
That bright green battlefield. Um, yeah,
Fantastic. Well, that bright green battlefield was often the color paint used in many a gaming
yeah,
gaming club back in that era and beyond, or cricket club. I'm thinking of in Cheltenham
yeah.
that might have had bright green tables at some point. And I think that was fantastic. I love that functionality that you can take a picture of your battle table, and then you've got that picture, and then you can over the top of that you're placing in those elements to
Just
tidy it
moving
up,
units.
smarten it up.
Yeah,
It's just really fun, really cool. You can create something. So even if it's just to put on a blog post, this was the battle, here's the report, or something I might do more hand on. I don't do battle reports on the channel, but maybe in the future. But I could turn it into some kind of battle report when if there's
you can.
images and things going up as well. That's all there as an output, which is really cool.
Well, it goes beyond that. We've started to develop animation software to go with this. So you can literally take your turns, and it will take the positions. You can move things between states. So you can move your models and as they have moved around the table, you can reflect that in a full animation, which you can time and then report and put according to your own timestamps.
Amazing, amazing. So you can get your full on sort of documentary style battle
Full
reports.
creator, yeah. You can incorporate
Really
photos, everything. You should be able to build, as the software develops, you'll be able to build the full battle report exactly as you
amazing.
kind of imagine it in whatever format and whatever publishing format you want to make your content in.
Fantastic. And does it work a similar way for campaign maps as well? Are you able to
Yeah.
sort of edit and adjust those and add images and things?
Yes, yeah. So you can create a campaign map, add anything you need in. There's guides, there's hills, there's terrains, there's everything you want. You can publish those back into the main app and use them to tell your players how they should be setting up the battlefield, to give them rough guides. You can create archetypal maps that they can build for themselves from. With their own scenery at home, anything's really optional.
Brilliant stuff. And what about other functions that I'm probably not prompting you to bring up there? What are some of your other favorite functions at the moment?
I love the idea we can incorporate. So, having watched a few kind of battle report channels and different things, you can incorporate video into these elements. So you can make video, publish it on YouTube. YouTube videos host in, so people can get the story kind of read to them. Um, Generally, the rounds being able to be kind of hidden and having the rosters imported
Yeah,
makes organizing a campaign like a lot easier. Um, Beyond that, there's the marketplace is quite exciting. So that allows individual creators to create and sell campaigns. So you can have a simple night's gaming.
yeah,
A quick look through there, you'll find a narrative story that just adds a little more meaning to the standard play. And as that
brilliant.
develops and is built bigger and filled in, that's going to be a really incredible place just to pick up your standard Friday night in the club.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you talked a little bit about the free options, and there's obviously different tiers. So, how does that work? What are the different levels? What do you get for your different tiers? Should you become a sort of a paid user of the app rather than just the free user?
So we are incredibly thankful to all our paid users, and they help to keep the fires of the forge burning and the servers turned on, which obviously is very, very important. So absolutely thank you to each person who's contributing and wants to become part of this. It's really amazing. Um, the different tiers. So when you start out, I wanted to make sure the core functionality and talk to a lot of people. The core functionality should remain free. So you'll be able to build a couple of campaigns. You don't get unlimited characters, but enough to write a bit of story, a few rules, set your rounds up, and just really get going and playing. Your players can incorporate their bit lists from New Recruit and from Old World Builder, so it's easy to import and do all that within the free tiers. You get some limited heraldry for your
Right.
units. So you can set up your own personal heraldry in the Halls of Glory. You can set up your units heraldry, your army standard, your units heraldry. So you can, within reason, personalize everything. You can then, with higher tiers, premium tiers, unlocks the full range of heraldry. So as a premium player, you can basically just have a bit more variety for your units. And you can customize their looks a little bit more. You then step up to gold tier, where you gain access to unlimited kind of characters in your campaign descriptions and rules. So you can make a more in-depth campaign with a really rounded out word count, with a rounded
Yeah.
out set
Okay.
of rules and
Yeah.
language. And that scales up to also access to the marketplace to effectively act as a campaign creator,
Hmm.
and all the way across to the battlefield battle report builder.
Yeah.
There you get more access to saves, saving battle reports. You get access to the animation features, and I believe access to importing entire campaigns to make it really easy to populate. Oh, and to bring in photographs.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. It's yeah, just seeing it grow. And I remember Mark talking to me about this a few months ago, saying this thing's on the way. I can't tell you much, but it's going to be amazing. And seeing now what's actually become of it as a concept and an idea, and seeing all of the different functions, it's really, 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 really
Yeah.
exciting. Talk a little bit more about the Hall of Glory. I don't think we've covered it yet.
So the Hall of Glory is a great place for players and organisers to record kind of how they're doing. We allow It's almost a competitive element to narrative play. So it allows you to have recordings, top tens, top 100s of the current players, and see how everybody's performing in campaigns. It also allows, most importantly, organisers, who really are the lifeblood of the Forge, to showcase how many campaigns they're running, how in depth their campaigns are, kind of also allows you to find other users.
Yeah.
What's particularly important there is that it allows you to see what other organizers are doing, what campaigns they're making and creating, so you can kind of see and reflect on how that works. Is there anything useful they're doing? I don't know the ins and outs of the whole system yet, so watching what other people are doing is really exciting for me. Just seeing new campaign organizers come along, make something different, and kind of opens up whole new ways of seeing the entirety of that narrative world.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what are your hopes and plans for it for the future? Have you got lots of ideas or anything you can share at the moment?
We are keeping on working with different campaign organizers to make sure that the whole app fills their needs.
Hmm.
There's lots of new elements that we're looking at in order to help maybe run voting polls for what people want to happen during the campaigns, to make sure there's as many publishing features as possible, so that you can really realize at the minute you can run it, you can start a campaign, you can maintain a campaign. We want to add as many features as possible so that you can really narrate and record that campaign, report it to people,
Yeah.
and include every element possible to help whatever way your consumers are looking to consume your content.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And have you had any time to run your own campaign, or is it all
So
theory at the moment because you're so busy?
okay, so I've been ridiculously busy, obviously creating this whole thing. There is a campaign we're going to be running called the Tillian Misadventure,
Hmm.
and that's going to be run down in Kent.
Yep.
So if you're a player in Kent, come and get in contact, find us on the Discord, sign up. That'll be starting within the next few weeks. That's a kind of slow grow campaign, I think maybe over 7 rounds. The story is that the old master has died in a Tillian city, or is dying, I think. Spoiler alert for round two. And the different factions that then vie for control of the city. And you will
Yeah.
support one of those factions, and kind of then all be able to play amongst yourselves, determining at the end of the campaign who ended up with control of the city itself.
That's fantastic. It's a nice area to set a campaign in as well. Gives you a bit of narrative room to explore because
Yeah.
things aren't quite as well known as others. I like that. I approve an awful lot.
Well, there's a border prince in there. There's a
Yeah.
renegade crown, he comes across.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I love that. Might have a Tillian in my current Renegade
Yeah.
crowns as well. No, it's all good fun for narrative exploration, that's for sure. Is there anything else about the Renown Forge that we haven't covered that you want to shout out before we let people go?
I don't know there is. I think we've covered everything possibly. But to be fair, I've probably forgotten 100 things. Um, it will have happened. I suppose you can search campaigns very easily using it, so you can find
Yeah,
campaigns in your local area.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it makes it easy to find a campaign or to find players.
Yes, yeah, because there may be people who are thinking, well, this is all well and good, but I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I've only got one friend I game with, so we might do a campaign, but we're not really going to be able to engage with others. Well, maybe when you search, that you'll find there is a group running a campaign you can join, or there is a global
You
campaign or a
can,
global group. There are people saying we encourage remote users, so feel like you're part of something a little bit bigger than just you and your one or two players that maybe don't have a club with a huge amount of old world players. Just another
it's
example of how it can work and bring people together.
this is exactly it. It's people finding uses for it. You're always
Hmm.
going to be able to find more players using the app, because there's every campaign has a location,
Yeah,
or unless it's set online. But every campaign has a location, and you can set
yeah.
that, and you can bring people into play.
Fantastic stuff. Fantastic. Well, David, thank you very much for spending the time to come and talk about Renown Forge. Go and check it out, everyone. Links in the video description and all the rest. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the chat with David, and you're all eager to head over to Renown Forge now and see what it has to offer. There will be a link in the video description below so you can go and do that. Thank you to David for giving up your time to come and share your knowledge and talk about your new project, which is definitely a passion of yours, and I think it's really, really exciting to see. So do go and support David if you like what he's doing there. As you've already heard, there's so many uses for that, be that big global campaigns, smaller campaigns within your club, or even just at home with one or two other people. Lots and lots of uses, battle reports, and so on and so on. So do go and check it out. If you you'd like to support me even further, then please do check out my Patreon. There's a link in the video description. Thank you to all my existing patrons. All your support financially means that I can spend time making videos like this, which I really, really appreciate. And you can also check out the channel sponsor, Counterattack Bases. They make loads and loads of cool game aids for your actual games of Warhammer the Old World, including many other game systems as well, and custom dice. But thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.